So is it true the New England Patriots are to blame for the state of Calgary's roads last week?
No.
I think they were. We heard this morning
It
they
was
were.
clearly the Atlanta Falcons. No, I followed up on that, and if anything, that was super minor, and I don't really know why you said that.
Do you worry that if unionized employees are saying, no, I don't have to come in today, there could be concerns later down the road, job-wise, that, maybe we'll contract out if you guys don't want to come in on your days off?
Well, this is really about calling in people to do overtime, and you can't force people to do overtime whenever. And what I heard Mr. Logan say as well was very much along the lines of it was also hard to get the contractors out. But remember, it's not just because it's the Super Bowl, it's because it's snowing. And in fact, all those contractors also have other jobs they have to do in terms of clearing people's parking lots, supermarkets, and so on. So I thought that little connection was a bit tenuous, to say the least.
Now, we know about the complaints around snow removal and stuff like that. Now, do you have a possible solution to the issue of angle parking and cul-de-sacs?
Well, we're going to be discussing that later today, and the motion that will be before council is to figure out a way that if it meets operational needs, which is a fancy way of saying if emergency vehicles can still get in and out, and the people who live in that cul-de-sac want it, then we can sign it for angle parking. And that seems to be a pretty good solution to me.
Can we talk a little about the Green Line?
Sure.
So it will not be built all at once from one end to the other?
Well, we don't know yet. We'll make a decision in June, but certainly I've been pushing hard to ensure that council understands that the budget is the budget, and we have to be able to build what we can within. Now, the interesting thing about the Green Line is you can't really build it in a bunch of phases, because in order for it to work, it has to go pretty far. So even what we're looking at now is all the way from Shepherd to Bennington. That's still almost as much LRT as we have in Calgary, something like 27 and a half kilometers. So that is actually a very, very, very long line. The reason it needs to be so long is twofold. Number one is the population, particularly on the southeast portion of the line, tends to be at the end. There's a lot of low population in between. The second reason is the trains need to go to bed somewhere at night. And the only two options for them to go to sleep at night are down at Shepherd or up at Aurora, which again are quite far down the length of the line.
Do you think this is going to reignite the fight over how far it should go at either end? Councillor Keating is already saying it really needs to go to Mackenzie-town at a minimum.
Well, I mean, council will do what council does, but the important thing to remember is that it is one project. It's not two separate projects, because the hard part is getting through the core. And if you're going to get through the core, you may as well serve people on either end, on either side of the river.
What does this uncertainty about if we're going to have to phase it, how we're going to phase it, what does that do to the province and how they see the project?
I don't think it makes any difference. Nothing about this is new. These are conversations that we've been having for months and months and months about how we can make it fit within the budget that's allocated for it. Remember that $4.6 billion is still about 3 times larger than the second largest project we've ever done in Calgary. So it's a gigantic project. And one of the things that I've been very clear with in terms of our own administration is to value engineer the heck out of it. We have to figure out the ways to bring the costs down so we can serve more people. So for example, it's a low floor LRT. Because it's low floor, that means that many of the stations can be a lot less complicated than the stations on the existing C-train lines. So how do we do that? How do we figure out simpler stations so that we can build more track?
One last question, folks.
Will we keep the tunnels?
Well, the downtown tunnel has been approved in principle, again, pending budget. And council will have to make a decision on the Beltline alignment sometime this spring. And basically, those are trade-offs the council is going to have to make.